Before we get started tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on another episode of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, I want to introduce y'all to one of our sponsors, the Southern California Warriors Semi-Pro Football Team. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players play the hopes of so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get films to try out for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Whether you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give Semi Pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. You can find them on Twitter at SoCal Warriors. You can find them on Instagram at Southern California _Warriors. And find them on Facebook, Southern California Warriors. Now on to the show. With the first wave of free agency kind of winding down, we'll discuss the winners and losers of all the deals happening around the league. Also, Team USA, men's and women's, take home the gold for the fourth straight year. We'll look on that accomplishment and see what's in the future for both, men's and women's basketball. And plus that and much more here on Fast Break, live on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all is sports, and you're welcome to join us. And join us as you shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of free agency news to go into, lots of things going on around the league and whatnot. But we're gonna have fun tonight. D-Lock, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Everything's pretty good, man. Last time I believe we did go live for NBA draft. Could have did the same thing for free agency, but so much news we brought up for today's show, so definitely excited about that a lot. And I'm excited about what a few teams have done.
Yeah, a lot of big signings happening in the NBA, a lot of moving and shaking. So we're just gonna just dive into it. What happened this past week. D-Lock, who do you saw that made some good moves in that first wave of free agency? What teams did you like making? Okay, I like what they did here and whatnot. I like what they did there. Who are some of your winners in free agency?
The biggest one to me, we talked about just before. I said the Bulls. I really think, they made some key moves that were very impressive to me. They did trade for Vooch, prior to this, and they let that trade pick go to the Magic, as long as it was like a protected top four. So it wasn't a bad move, but so they traded for Vooch, traded Otto Porter, but got Vooch. So what they got him, now they got him and Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams there, a couple young pieces. And they went and got Lonzo, which is a huge piece for me. That was a steal. They really needed a guard. Now, obviously, it does leave us to see what they're going to do kind of with Kobe White, how his rotation is going to fit. And also we went and got DeMar DeRozan. That was another big piece as well. So for me, that rose eyebrows for me. What the Bulls have done. One of the brighter spotlights so far. Obviously, teams are still making moves, but I think the Bulls came out and really addressed a lot with that. Also adding Alex Caruso, so they got a little bit of offense and added a lot of defense too. But they definitely stuck out for me over other teams.
Yeah, I was on the fence about the Bulls. I wasn't too sure. Like, some of the moves they did. Well, I was like, I thought about it, like, you go either one path or another. In case you're the Bulls, you can still go back in that rebuilding mode and whatnot, and hopes to land to a superstar, or do you see what you have, add some couple pieces, and maybe go about it that way? And the Bulls went that second option down the road. Like you mentioned, Lonzo Ball. I think that he's been long rumored to go to Chicago for a while. There was talks of him maybe getting traded there in the trade deadline this past season. It didn't materialize, but they finally got their guy in Lonzo. So I love that move for Lonzo going to the Bulls. Caruso going to the Bulls as well. Interesting pickup. I like it. You get another guard that can defend some of the better guards in the East. Like I said, you're in the division. Well, in the division now, with Milwaukee, with Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, for the Milwaukee side. Then you look at the Cleveland side, like Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, Kay Cunningham coming to the fold in Detroit. Killian Hayes when he's healthy. So, you need somebody defensively going along with Lonzo. Because Kobe White, let's be real, ain't the world's best defender. And now, these two guys into the mix, I think will do wonders with your team. Then, DeMar DeRozan, can he put them over the hump to make a playoff push? I think so. I mean, you're looking at the Bulls starting lineup now, D-Lock. If you're talking about Lonzo at the point position, Levine at the shooting guard, small forward Patrick Williams, or mix it up with DeRozan, small forward, power forward, and then your center, whoever that may be, you looking pretty good. Oh, and Vucevic. You're looking pretty good right now. Now, granted, your window's pretty short by like a 2-year window, especially with Vooch and DeRozan's peaks. But you got a nice 2-year window to make a run. And after that, you can go from there. Do you dismantle again or whatnot, or just go about your separate ways? But the one thing I do question about Chicago, what does Lauri Markkanen do?
Yeah, that's another piece too that I thought about. They also picked up Tony Bradley. So, I mean, what do they do with him? But I feel like that goes along with saying, you say that, what does Lauri Markkanen do? I would say, what does Lauri Markkanen and Kobe White do? But like, picking up two guards, point guards specifically, like how does that affect Kobe White? Now, granted, they did have to trade away Thaddeus Young to get DeRozan, so I guess that gives a little bit more room for marketing. But what do they do with him? How effective can he be? I think I did see the Hornets were interested in him. I'm not sure if they took the leap, but I mean that's going to be something that's kind of interesting. But obviously, how they played last year, Billy Donovan wasn't having that. I think last year was his first year there, correct?
Um,
or was it? I believe it had to be his first or his second year.
something on those lines. Yes.
So yeah, at this point, he had to make it to where he wanted them to be a much better team pretty quick. So these moves is about that. And even though you do have DeRozan, on the downside, and Vooch slowly going to be declining at some point within the next few years, as you said, uh, they have to figure out their moving forward options. But I do like what they have with the young guys in Lonzo, Zach LaVine, and then you do got Patrick Williams. But I would say this makes them a better team than what they had last year.
Most definitely. And with some of this, we talked in this past, ladies and gentlemen, like how some of these teams in the East have kind of been in the bottom from years, and they always kind of like fighting that for that last two spots. But nobody's kind of really separating themselves from the pack. And I think, the Bulls, for at least the next 2 years, is kind of pulling themselves ahead as the pack. Ahead of Washington, ahead of maybe Charlotte, maybe. And then maybe, another team I'm thinking about, Orlando at the moment. But I think Chicago did play pretty well, in this run. I think what we kind of question about Billy Donovan at times is like, can he get it all together? Can he put the pieces together? Can he do something with this crew? Because you got scoring on all levels. You got defense on all levels. So I think hopefully Bill and Donovan puts together and whatnot in my eyes. What you think about that?
I think it's a good put together. That's why I said I just feel like that was a huge piece for them to grab the guards. I just want to see what they're going to do with Kobe White. Now this might be like a thing to think about. Watch out for it. We might not know for sure, but now just thinking about it, do they engage in talks with Philly for Ben Simmons? Because now, how long are you willing to keep Kobe White? We know that Philly is wanting a guard, even though they drafted an aggressive guard. What are your plans moving forward? Could you possibly see Chicago go after the three-time All-Star Ben Simmons? So it's just something that, even though that's kind of out of left field in baseball terms, but could be something to watch out for, because right now, with the move they made in the offseason, there leaves question marks with, Kobe White and marketing.
D-Lock, going from the Bulls, who I thought another winner was? Kind of low key. I kind of like to sign him. The Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah.
They signed Kelly Oubre, who probably thought he would probably get like a bigger contract than he would. But they got him a pretty nice, good deal. Then you signed Ish Smith as a backup to LaMelo. Then you traded for Mason Plumlee, who played pretty well, this past season for Detroit.
Detroit, yeah.
Take that as you will.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, they did pretty well as well. Granted,
yeah,
granted,
I did. I like that too.
Granted that they do lose Malik Monk to the Lakers, and we'll talk about them here in a little bit. But I thought, okay, you lose Monk, but you get Oubre. You get a nice center who ain't going to demand the score and stuff like that a lot to kind of help flush out that roster a little bit more to go along with P.J. Washington, Miles Bridges, LaMelo Ball. What's you to say that Charlotte, along with Gordon Hayward's health, could make a push for the playoffs next year?
I think they have the opportunity too, because checking out their roster again, they did pick up Wes Windu, who could be just a solid rotation player. Don't forget Jaden McDaniels, when he gets the time, I think he plays pretty well. Now that puts a couple people like a Brandon Curry, Brandon Wanamaker, these couple guys, what are they going to do with them? That much Bismack, but they have a solid, few pieces that they needed to fill, different roles. I really think that Kelly Oubre was a hell of a pickup. Gordon Hayward, Lord knows this dude can stay healthy. Like, what he can do. But we talked about it last year, see when they picked him up. Now, the biggest piece, too, even though Kelly Oubre was big, I really like them getting Mason Plumlee. I think that's a piece that many people are not thinking about. But, for him to get picked up on how he played last year, if he can bring that same energy in Charlotte, I really see this team being top 8 in the East. There's no way they're not. They have a lot of pieces there. Kelly Oubre, Miles Bridges, P.J. Washington is coming into his own as well. Now I remember last year, any power forward that played against Charlotte would go crazy. I remember on FanDuel. So I think they may I think they're gonna play a lot better in that area. But they got a couple good pieces, man. They struggled last year with the center position with Cody Zeller there, but I think they'll get a much better center in Mason Plumlee. And I expect, as we all do, for LaMelo to take another step, in his career. So, but I honestly don't think they're done. I think that they might make some moves as well. Now, they did, like you said, lose Malik Monk, but picking up a couple guys. Terry Rozier I think he played pretty well for them as well.
Yeah.
So I do like what they have. And like I said, that Jaden McDaniels is another player who, if you continue to get him his minutes, he'll be pretty good.
And I failed to mention, ladies and gentlemen, Devontae Graham. He's also gone for Charlotte as well. He's going to New Orleans as well. And, you talk about Devontae Graham that kind of grinded, to make a roster, and he really stuck out. He really did a great job with his time in Charlotte and stuff like that. So, shout out to him, getting his big money deal in free agency, going down to Charlotte. Now, D-Lock, I'm a Laker fan. I'm on the fence on their offseason. There's some signings I like. Signings I thought, we'll see. Now, for the Lakers side of things, I did like the signing of Kendrick Nunn. I think if y'all listen to this show, me and D-Lock are kind of big supporters of Kendrick Nunn, and it's still kind of baffles us that despite being undrafted, despite being, in the last vote getting for Rookie of the Year, that he never really got a chance to run the ball with Eric Spoelstra and the crew in Miami. But the Lakers get on the cheap 1 year, and like a player option for the second. And I like the Malik Monk sounding. So you got two guys in the early 20s, lots of potential, can help contribute to the team, not only for this year, but potentially down the road. And then, D-Lock, you go to the other side of it. Dwight Howard. 10, 15 minutes a night. Do what he does. I think he finally accepted, who he is in the league. Trevor Ariza, if you're a Laker fan, I still stand on this horse on this hill. I'll die on this hill on this thing. Lakers should have did a better job keeping Ariza around after they won the championship in '09 against Magic.
Right.
They should, me personally, just thinking basketball logic. Yes, they got more piece and won the next year, but I just think more long term because at that time, Ariza was like what, still early 20s, right?
Yeah.
And Kobe, he was, in that prime scoring his career and all that stuff. My thinking was basketball wise, okay, you got this young 20-year-old here that could have been like Scottie Pippen light and could have guarded the other team's best player, wore that person down. Don't have Kobe, doing so much defensively. I'm not saying hiding him, but you're not wearing him out. So come late game situations or Kobe's hot and whatnot, you preserving that, energy and stuff like that for those type of runs. That's just me. That's how I saw things out of it. But, Ariza come back home. All that stuff. Wayne Ellington, another guy, bench guy, another scoring guy. It's kind of like, when I see some of these signs, like, well, could have kept Wesley Matthews in the fold. I think with Ellington and Matthews, you comparing side by side. I mean, not Ellington. Matthews is bigger. He's better defensively. I just felt like, and they're around the same age. It's like I just rather kept Wesley Matthews in the fold. My own opinion.
I feel like at this point, what they were doing was with the group that they had, they were ready to just kind of like restructure the group.
Yeah.
Because, be honest, bro, we didn't even see Wesley Matthews even during the season or playoffs that much. Now, the person I told you I'm still kind of trying to see him grow to this person is Taylor Horton Tucker. Trying to see him grow into this guy that everybody's hyping him to be. But all the moves that the Lakers did, I really liked. I think they're still going to try to go grab a guard, maybe a Buddy Hield or something like that. But to go get a Russ, go get a Trevor Ariza, going to get Melo. I'm going to get these guys that clearly can play a better, or they want to see if they can play a much better role. Probably was just that time. We know LeBron's going to be on his way out soon as far as retirement-wise. I guess Russ is 31, but I don't see him retiring anytime soon right now. You still have AD there, so you got you some guys that can play the defense now. I did love the fact they got Kendrick Nunn, too. I don't even know how you got him.
I know that.
Yeah, that was like one of those, damn, how did you pull that off? So that was a great pick up as well. I think right now, like, it just seems as if the Lakers are primed. They're primed and ready now to go for another run. Not picking up Dwight Howard, that just made all kind of sense because that Dwight Howard already knows the system. He knows they know what his role is going to be. So they kind of did something very similar than what Chicago did, but obviously more aggressive. Because the guys that they got are gonna, like, they are kind of gonna know their roles, and they're probably gonna fit a lot better with LeBron. A lot of people were saying that they would prefer to have Chris Paul over Russ, but in LA. But to me, we know that LeBron is trying to play off the ball a lot more right now. So, Russ is the perfect person that you will let you play off the ball. So, he's going to have more expectation upon his, on his role, and a little bit less for LeBron to carry. So, I think it was a good move. Another piece too that was a hell of a move too was Malik Monk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for those that do watch basketball a lot, what Malik Monk was doing a lot last year, especially with LaMelo when LaMelo went down for a while. So that he's a hell of a shooter. Um, and this is what the Lakers were missing last year. They were missing shooters. We could not find Kuzma to have a good game last year. Even though Wesley Matthews played pretty good defense, he couldn't buy a basket either. So that's what they did. They went and picked up the pieces that they needed shooting wise and got the few defenders in Trevor Ariza and Dwight Howard. So this rotation is going to be crazy. But the biggest thing with this that I think a lot of people fail to realize is they're going where LeBron is. We put LeBron, we put Michael Jordan, we put Tom Brady. We put these guys all in the same category as far as their leadership. So even though Russ has done what he's done in the past, getting the triple-doubles, averaging triple-doubles, and grabbing everything off the damn glass, I don't think we have that big of it. I don't think we see the same Russ under LeBron James. I just feel like, there's going to be a different expectation from him. So we're going to see the same Energizer buddy, but not the one that's, stat sheet stuck. I don't really see it that much. Now, I think it's still going to happen because that's just what he's used to. But with the bigs that they got on the team, with the LeBron, I don't see him necessarily just going all kind of crazy, grabbing boards over LeBron. I don't see that as much. So I do expect for it to be a pretty good game, a pretty good season. But I think defensively, they've made improvements that they needed. But shooting-wise, I really like what they did because, you can't – the way Kuzma played last year, even the year before, you can't go wrong with a Carmelo, even though Melo was not necessarily who he was in Denver. But grabbing Malik Monk and grabbing Kendrick Nunn, I like all those pieces. I think they're not done yet. But all the moves that they made were clutch moves.
Let me ask you this, say on the Lakers. Do Russell Westbrook and Carmelo Anthony contribute well for this team? Will they kind of I know Melo kind of really accepted where he is, well, to a degree, accepted where he is in the league now. But Russ, he's a different animal. How well do you see them adjusting with this Lakers squad and whatnot, going with LeBron in the fold, AD in the fold? How do you think they will respond playing there?
Well, I think that Russ is going to be one of the guys that, doing everything that he can. Remember, we're not seeing the LeBron that was in Miami. I was actually just looking at, I think, a game he had against the Clippers in Miami. It was on Twitter. The whole game, the whole highlight, clearly was just to show you how he acted his whole 3 or 4 years in Miami. This dude was just literally doing everything. But that's not the LeBron that we see right now. So we see a LeBron now that when he needs to score points or when he needs to go off, he can do it. So I think that Russ is going to come in and fill that energy void that they don't have when LeBron is not on the court. I think that's going to be huge because that's what they really needed last year. And we've seen it. I think I talked about it last year at some point. I remember telling you, it looks like the Lakers are just their energy is super low when LeBron is off the court. They just look lost. They don't know what to do. So now having that energy there is going to be a big, big difference. I think Melo is going to, him and LeBron are both buddies. I think they going to have probably an easier chemistry than anybody else when they put them together. And I think that's going to map out pretty well. I don't think that, to be honest, I don't think that Melo has necessarily dropped off. I just think that he hasn't got as many opportunities that we've seen him get, in the past. You remember we seen him in New York. He was the guy. in Denver, he was the guy, the younger Melo. Now it's like we're not seeing that same, hey, well, we're expecting much of you. But when he does get the minutes, he plays pretty efficient. I mean, he showed that in Portland. Seems like the league were not wanting Melo to be there for a long time, and he still came back and showing that he still can be effective right now. So I think that chemistry will be fine. Another thing, like I said, the other guys, I think that their roles are just kind of fit in a sense to around what LeBron needs. That's what he needs from these different players. He needs somebody else to take a couple of shots. He needs that Trevor Ariza to play that defense. Kendrick Nunn I think, is a defensive guy as well. So these guys are going to play pretty. I think they'll play pretty well with them. But again, we are talking about the Lakers, where the expectations are pretty high. So, but I do expect for the Lakers to go pretty far. To me, I think the Knicks had their chance. Not the Knicks. I'm sorry. The Nets had their chance this past year, and they blew it because now you're going to have all these teams a lot back healthy. Even though we are looking at the big three and Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie, these other teams are going to prep for that. So, but I definitely think the Lakers are gonna fit perfect. But Russ is going to be, I think he's going to fit perfect in LA as well.
Yeah, I think the Lakers will have all eyes on them. How Frank Vogel's going to adjust to things, because I think that's like one criticism that came out last season. Once like LeBron went out for a little bit, AD went out, and it kind of like suppose Frank Vogel kind of butt naked there at a time, and then with AD and LeBron came back, it still kind of exposed him at a time because you didn't know what to do with Drummond and Montrezl Harrell. In a sense, like when to play him and whatnot, especially in that playoff series against the Suns. And then, you mentioned, like that from mentioned, Wesley Matthews, didn't play him too much. The Markieff Morris, who went to sign somewhere. I forgot where he signed to. But, all those things, got to figure those things out. So, hopefully he can figure it out. Just kind of top of my head, what a starting lineup will look like for them. Russ at the point guard, Malik Monk at shooting guard, small forward LeBron James, power forward Anthony Davis, and then if you go center, maybe Dwight Howard. If you want to go small, Anthony Davis, you slide Anthony Davis there at center, and then maybe slide in Trevor Ariza to go along with that group. Maybe not. Maybe, I don't know. This thing on top of my head. And shout out to Terry Rodriguez in the chat. He said Markieff is on the Heat roster now. So that's that. Transition to the Heat real quick, D-Lock. Does Kyle Lowry put them back in the hunt for the NBA championship? Or
to be honest, I like the move, but I'm still kind of skeptical about it because we know how inconsistent Kyle Lowry can be. Now I'll tell you what I think was a very good move for them. Was picking up a PJ Tucker. I feel like that move kind of replaced or was very similar to having a Jay Crowder there a couple of years ago. Now, people, like I said, when they went to the NBA Finals, Jay Crowder played a huge piece and a body that they threw at Giannis when they played against Milwaukee. He caused things, pretty much, a lot of issues with them. So what did they do? They went and seen PJ Tucker go against Kevin Durant, and they went and got PJ Tucker.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a sense, I like that move. That Markieff Morris, they got tougher down low, much tougher. I don't mind the Kyle Lowry move. I think it's a pretty solid move, but what did we see in Kyle Lowry before Kawhi got there in Toronto?
I mean,
You know, so
I mean, he was consistent. I mean, in Toronto, him and DeRozan, but I thought about this in the past in the Crooks process. They just ran into that LeBron wall. You know, when Cleveland's making a run to the NBA Finals, they just having to draw up LeBron and crew at the wrong time. I was like, damn.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And I think he's going to play a big role. I guess I ain't going to lie. I think because I was kind of stuck on the Bulls moves. I really like that over everything. But Kyle Lowry was a solid piece. Now it does go. I think it does help them fit well against Brooklyn. You know what Kyrie can possess. So you need. I don't think Goran Dragic will be able to, do too much against Kyrie. I think he have a better, chance with Kyle Lowry. But if you can get the consistent Kyle Lowry in Miami with the Jimmy Butler that we know, if we get a Jimmy Butler, I think this year Jimmy Butler was somewhat kind of hurt, so we never got the Jimmy Butler we seen the year before.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm honestly thinking his body was just tapped out from the prior year. So I'm thinking that hopefully we get that Jimmy Butler. I think we'll be pretty impressed and happy with that. But if you get that, then like I said, you got a lot of defense, man. A lot of defense. You still got your shooters, so that could play a piece. Victor Oladipo's back too, correct?
Yeah, he resigned for a pretty good chunk of change to return. I think he's one person that really got to show that he's healthy to earn big money next summer.
Yeah. So that means this year is going to be huge for him, and that's what now you're talking about a guy that's on the edge because he's trying to get paid the following year. So if you can get him to be a pretty solid player, you mix him in the role with the Kyle Lowry. Now, question: do you start him, or do you have him coming off the bench?
Oh, you got to start him.
Oladipo?
Oladipo. Oh, that's a good. Oh.
Yeah.
So. I would say yeah, but let me think. Let me ask you what you think about this deal. I would say yeah, but they gave Duncan Robinson all that money.
Yeah. I don't think I would have done that part.
I was like, ugh. I said, ooh, $90 million.
Yeah. That's a hell of a lot of money.
Ooh, if I'm some of those, if I'm some of those other guys in restricted free agency and stuff like that, they got some of these deals. I'm looking at Duncan Robinson like John Collins for
seriously.
I said, damn.
Yeah.
This dude got more money than me I did. I know I did better player than him. I know Kelly Oubre must be sick right now. Seeing that type of deal.
Well, we know who the sickest person in the draft in free agency right now is Dennis Schroeder.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Let's touch on him real quick before we go back to Miami. You want to talk about somebody that played himself. He's that definition this year. And I don't know if he fired his agent or not, but he got to look at his agent sideways and says, hey, man, this ain't working out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here without no deal. Everybody else getting swooped up on that stuff. Spencer Dillon, he finally got signed by Washington. And I'm out here, out here butt naked and no team to call home yet. Where do you see around the league? Where do you see him signing to kind of redeem himself for this year, for next year, and making big money next year? Where do you see him going as a fit to kind of regain his reputation to the masses?
Man, the fact that he's asking so much money just bothers me right now. He had all that money he turned down from LA, which hindsight 2020, he probably should have taken that.
Yep.
So now, it's just like, oh my gosh. But a team, I mentioned them earlier, and they're already talking about, they're shopping your boy around. Philadelphia 76ers. You're looking for a point guard, and you can have that guy and Dennis Schroeder. Clearly right now, Danny Green came back, correct?
Yes, he came back
2 years, 20 million or something like that.
And shout out to his agent too.
Yeah. So you have him coming back. You got a good piece. Haven't heard anything negative about Tobias. So you have your group. You've been talking about how aggressive you need to guard. It's good that you drafted one, but you have a player right now who wants to be the starting guard. Who has experience in the NBA, and Dennis Schroeder. Again, I think the lights in LA might have been too bright, and fact is they offered him a lot of money. He turned that down. I feel like he can be in Philly right now, and this is a guard clearly sitting out there now. We don't know what kind of conversations he's having with these different teams. Maybe he's talking to these teams. He's just not budging on him getting $100+ million. So that could have a big role in why he's not signed anywhere. But I think Philly would be a great role. I feel like that is where he can land perfect there. He wants to be the guy. There's his opportunity. You got your big man and Joel Embiid and Drummond, which we want to. I want to have a camera in that locker room to see how that locker room in practice go.
That was weird.
Yeah. So you have that. So I think Philly would be a good fit for sure.
I won't say in the same area, but a little bit up north a little bit. Boston would be a good fit for him, starting point guard wise. I don't know who would be starting point guard for Boston in his upcoming year. But if I was him, if I was his agent, I would tell him to take $84 million. But if I was his agent, and I know there's some guys, like Chris Dunn in the fold and stuff like that, and got Josh Richardson in there as well. But also, shout out to Stephen Copeland in the chat right now. Shout out, how you doing tonight, sir? But if I was him, if I was him, I'd convince him to take a 1 year vet minimum or a little bit more to go to Boston, play with that group for a year, and go about free agency next year. If Boston love you enough, they re-up you. In my eyes, another team that I think he should consider, and just my thought process, maybe the Brooklyn Nets. Go there for a year. Be behind Kyrie. Kyrie don't stay healthy and whatever else going on with him at times. Go there, prove your worth. Show out, and then cash in the market next year. But the places I'm picking out is, and like you pointed out too, like Philly, Boston, Brooklyn. Maybe we could throw another team out there, but these are contending teams, and you show your value in a contending team. Come next year, someone's gonna come out and try and open the checkbook for you. So, you know, as a Lakers fan, I wish, him in LA could have worked out way better. We talked about it in the draft broadcast last year. I was stoked about that. You gave up that draft pick for Dennis Schroeder, and to go along with that team, thought you had magic in the making, but it didn't really pan out like that. But hopefully, whoever he's getting advice from, he really got to think for his own self, in a sense.
Yeah, because I'm honestly, you had a chance to, have that money guaranteed or locked up in LA with LeBron, and you turned it down. So, for what reason? We don't know. But now you're out there looking for a job. And I like Dennis Schroeder, to be honest. I feel like he's a better off the bench player than he is a starter, if you ask me. So him fitting in Brooklyn wouldn't be bad, but we know Brooklyn did sign Patty Mills and they got Cam Thomas, I believe. So that would be a nice little place too. But I do like him to be an off the bench player. Like that seems like that's a very solid role for him. So he needs to go somewhere where he can fill that role. So I do like that. It just now you came out publicly saying how much money you want. So now some teams are probably like, well, hell, we ain't even finna call this dude. Because we're not offering nothing nowhere near that. So I believe, how old is he, 27, 26?
About 27, 28, somewhere around there.
Yeah, so I think that, he has an option. He's young, so he'll get picked up.
Before we got here, D-Lock, who are some of your losers in free agency?
Well, we just talked about one of them, major. Dennis Schroeder is a major loser right now. And as much as I love my teams, I'm always debate unbiased. But I think the Magic are losers as well. We looked. I thought we were going to be a winner in the draft when we got Jalen Suggs. And then we messed around and drafted somebody at 8 that we had other options there that made it like, okay, instead of it being an A+ draft, now it's a B+. But, dude, we signed Robin Lopez. So I don't know what was the purpose of doing that. Like, I'm still kind of like confused. You do know that we're still paying Timothy Mozgov?
Hold on, y'all still paying him?
Yes.
Damn, that damn Mitch Kupchak.
So you already got one center who's at Magic Kingdom one day and SeaWorld the next day, and he's getting paid. And now you're going to sign another one, and Robin Lopez, who I guess he's bringing in some veteran experience. Now, obviously, this is a new coach, so more so the benefit of the doubt. I'm just trying to sit back and watch and see what happens. We just waived Dwayne Bacon today, which clearly made sense with all the guards that we have. But I think we were one of the major losers. I mean, it just seemed like we didn't do anything to necessarily improve that much. So, let me see. And I probably would say Milwaukee. I mean, they did just come back and win a title, but they didn't make a big push. They did lose P.J. Tucker, but they brought back Bobby Portis. So usually when teams win, titles, we've seen it in the NFL as well, in the Bucks, but they like to keep the band back together. But it's okay to add a couple pieces. Bucks added the running back and a couple other guys. We didn't see Milwaukee necessarily pick anybody else up yet to add to that group. They did lose a key piece in PJ Tucker. Now, what I mean by key piece, usually people that probably don't watch basketball that much, they're thinking, he has to shoot, he has to score a lot, has to grab a lot of boards. No, he's a person that is a great defender. He played a huge piece for them. So for me, I think losing PJ Tucker will really hurt Milwaukee. And another team too is Philly. I mean, we hear all year long about what they're gonna do with Ben Simmons, and they could not find a trade at all. Now it's been said that they're trying to get a James Harden-esque trade for Ben Simmons. Now listen, I like Ben Simmons, 3-time All-Star, been on the all defensive team. I think he's one of the better players in the league. I just feel like he's not you're not getting James Harden trade for him is not gonna happen. That's entirely too much for him. But Philly hasn't made that push either. They haven't done anything. And damn hell, they gave Danny Green all that damn money after what he did last year. So, those are my major losers. I can't put Washington in there yet because, hell, Bradley Beal, for some reason, wants to stay there. So, they got a couple pieces, but, those are my main losers.
Before I get to my losers, I'll counter your Milwaukee point. Now, for Bobby Portis, to get him back at that money, in which I'm kind of surprised some other teams didn't really give him more money, considering some of the other centers I saw get paid. Looking at Daniel Thesis and Kelly Olynyk getting like $40 million deals. That's egregious right there. But anyways, point that. But you brought back Bobby, so you got that. You're double big man off the bench. You just traded for Grayson Allen from Memphis, which I thought low key was a good move because, as you saw in the playoffs with not Pat Connaughton, when what's his name? When Dante DiVincenzo went down, you really didn't have that other shooter along the roster. That 3-point shooter. I mean, Pat Connaughton played very well, played great for them, but you need that extra floor space. And I thought adding Grayson Allen to the fold should help that just in case DiVincenzo, gets hurt again. Then, brought back George Hill after Brian Forrest went back down to the Spurs. I thought that was cool. Then, you talk about losing PJ Tucker. They signed Sime Ojale from Boston and Rodney Hood as well. Rodney Hood, very capable pro, can play. Ojoye, if I pronounce that last name right, very solid player, can do what he has. I thought Milwaukee did okay, replacing the roster and whatnot. So I thought what they did was okay. Who knows who they had after that, but I thought what they did was okay. But to my losers, real quick, I didn't mind the Knicks signing Evan Fournier, but
with all that damn money.
But not for all that money. And we seen him get paid that type of money and really don't move the needle like that. Now, great for them, to extend Julius Randle. He deserved that. But you bring in an Evan Fournier that plays kind of the same position like R.J. Barrett. And you taking shots away from R.J. Barrett. I just didn't like that move at all. Great job bringing back Derrick Rose, though. which I think he wasn't going to go anywhere anyways. And then also, if Kimba going back home can get his mind right and stuff like that, I think it'd be low key good move for them. But I didn't like the Fournier move for them. And then Andre Drummond going to the, like you mentioned, Sixers is kind of weird. I was like, oh, you go there. That's odd. And I see like someone like Enes Kanter go back to Boston. And I was thinking to myself, I don't know how much money Drummond signed for Philly. But if it's the same level of Enes Kanter, I would go somewhere where I could at least start. And come back and fool somebody, in the offseason to pay me big money. And then I think one more loser before we get out of here. I hate to say this, but I got to go with Bradley Beal.
Yep.
I hate to say it like that. I mean, I know him and Spencer Dinwiddie would be a tight backcourt in the right circumstances, but it's just like, I think this is his getaway chance to get away from this team. And the Golden State guys, tried to talk to him, but he said he wanted to stay. So I was like, come on, man. Now, who knows how this season gonna shake out, with him and Dinwiddie in the backcourt. We'll see how that goes. And then also you got Kuzma in the fold, Montrezl Harrell in the fold, along with KCP. So I don't know, maybe things turn out better for them. They got a new coaching staff, so that's a positive. I just think like, damn dog, you kind of did all you could do there. So those are my losers. I think I could be missing somebody else. Like I did slam the Olynyk and Dentarius signings. And then, what's so funny about those two signings before we get out of here? Olynyk signed.
Which one is he?
Well, Olynyk signed with Detroit. He signed for damn near $40 million. Same contract that Plumlee got.
Yeah.
Then Dentarius goes to Houston and gets a 4-year, $40 million deal.
Just giving money away.
Yeah, well, my thing is, I don't know how Steven Silas is going to play the center position, but you got Christian Wood there already at center.
Mm-hmm.
That's that stretch center. I was just like, where is he going to play? I know he's going to come off the bench, but how much time are you going to get? But that's it. But we'll just leave it at that. But yeah, that's my losers right there in my eyes.
I mean, it's still going too, so we may see other moves moving forward. But right now, it's just some of these moves are just like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell was Detroit thinking? But, I mean, we'll see. Like you said, it is early, so we'll see. We'll get more news as it goes. I expect for Ben Simmons to be moved soon.
And if you're not following us on social media at Fastbreak IESR, please do. So if that news drop anytime soon, we'll keep you updated on that. But D-Lock, how can people find you on social media?
Guys can find me at Black-813. Black- the word -813. That's why I'll be posting a lot of my info. Also, congratulations to a lot of people that made it in the NFL Hall of Fame as well today. Let them know where they can find you at, man.
You can find me on Twitter at Spawn4288. That is Spawn4288. Also, you can find me on my other show, The Crooks Process, on Facebook and Instagram. Please do follow me there. Also, please check us out. Check out the mothership, IESportsRadio.com. You can catch up the playbacks on this the show here and the other shows on the network. A lot of new shows in the fold, so please check all those shows out. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be up here next week to tell you all the good news going on around the world of basketball. But until then, we are out.